kids. Welcome to I am your host. How is everybody doing? I'm using makeshift microphone setup because my normal microphone. Not sure what to tell you. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I want to say hello to everybody on platforms that everybody on Rumble, and I want to say hello to everybody on, and of course, shout out to. They allow me to say I know I don't stream very often. The obvious. But you've been. I felt compelled to get on, and I'm a little bit torn about it, as I'll get into this a little bit, but I was a little bit torn about jumping. Everybody's doing. Everybody's going out there, saying their two cents. Hopefully, my connection. And some people have, some viewers have been criticizing a lot of people jumping on podcasts about what's been going on. They criticize. Well, you're profiting on tragedy has happened. So I just wanted to topic do. Um, I'm I barely get any views. X. I don't stream, don't do for a living. I don't make money. Wish I did. Don't. But I feel that now is a time, if any, and the facts. Now is the time, or excellence. Really, now is really the time. But we can talk a little bit more about that later. Um, Pardon me. So I've been rehearsing in my head. Obviously, we're going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff. Talking about senseless, racial, racially motivated, political violence, politically motivated. We're going to be talking about some subjects that it's going to make people uncomfortable. Things are going to be said in this that YouTube, for example, may not like. I was actually going to show the planning on the actual assassination. I was going to show. Um, Most likely you take my stream if I did. So the only reason why I'm not going to put it on is because I don't want to give the left a reason to censor me. And hopefully my chat is not frozen. I haven't seen. Okay. Um. So really, what I want to kind of dive in this is the other thing actually. Before I even done, let me also caveat on there. Um, I've tried to make it a point ever since assassination, not really go and listen to any or any tried to make it a not go out there. I don't want carrots directly or indirectly anybody. I wanted to kind of express my own about what not just with violence that climate. Um, way to flub it, Tazard. Way to flub it. I'm sorry. Anyways, what I was trying to say was, I didn't want to like indirectly um parrot accidentally. I wanted to kind of just express my own because a lot of people going to be a lot of overlap. I just wanted to come out, put my thoughts video. If anybody wants to comment, feel free. I invite that actually. So that sort. So about a week ago, I am recording. So as I'm live streaming, fascinated. There has been a lot that has happened between. I want to be very clear about my thoughts about my general feeling about any that could be as a cudgel, as as any political. My opinion, I don't believe domestic terrorism. That's what killing someone who. I don't believe that there is a justification. If your ideas have to be able to express them, to be able to win hearts and minds. If you start because you don't like their politics, you don't like their religion, you don't like just who they are. I mean, you're not obligated to like it. I don't believe murder, cold blood, but fortunately, not everybody, obviously. And this is the thing that bothers me. Um, because obviously, any sane and would look at what happened, which I saw the video. Was this? I'm not one shocked. Can't hear me? Yeah, I'm not really sure how much I can. Let me see if I can mess with settings a little. Uh, is this any better? Can you guys hear me? Unfortunately, like this microphone that I'm using is really great. Um, oh, maybe there's another microphone I can use. Um, let me let me give this some thought. Trying to think if I have any other available to me that I can use that might be a better Ranger effect. Like what? Oh, that's not on my stream. You can hear me better now, Tazard? Yeah, I tried to boost it up a little bit as much as I can. I'm gonna try to enunciate more as well and speak louder. So I'm gonna try and be a little clearer. Okay, thank you, Tazard, for letting me know. So basically what I was trying to say was I'll reiterate a little bit of what I said just to make sure that it's better for the stream. So what I was saying is I think generally if you're a normal and sane person, you would look at any of these violent situations, no matter what it is, be it political or not, and you would just find that unacceptable. Like, why would anybody want to go through life thinking it's perfectly okay to kill someone because whatever, whether it's because it's you don't like their religion, you don't like their politics, you don't like their gender, their race, it doesn't matter. Um, any sane person would generally, in most circumstances, well, it depends on the body odor. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, I gotta kid a little bit on the stream because, like I said, this is gonna be so heavy that that and these are not pleasant subjects. I gotta try and make some light out of it. So don't. I just want people to not mix that up with being insensitive. I'm just trying to not make this crazy as a stream because if not, it's just gonna go down an abyss of rage, and let's not do that. I don't want to do, even though it might be entertaining for you guys. I don't know, but anyways, no, but no, really, I hope there's a live stream trial and he pleads not guilty. I do know, and we'll talk a little bit about this too. I do know that he wasn't initially collaborating or working with the FBI. He was being difficult about it. So who knows? He may even try that. He may try and plead not guilty. But we'll talk about the that sort of side of things. Um, essentially, what I was trying to say though is that this is what makes me angry about the situation because I obviously am a nobody in the sense of I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I don't have a personal kind of knowledge or relationship or anything like that with any of these conservative commentators. Um, seriously, he's appearing in court in 20 minutes. Is there some link? Are they going to show it, or are they going to keep the press out and just have sketches? I have a feeling they may, because of the controversy behind it, they may just not allow press inside. That's interesting. I didn't even know about that. That's happening here in 20 minutes. That's interesting. But like I was saying, I don't know. I didn't know Charlie Kirk personally. Obviously, I'm a veritable nobody on that. I I don't even post and stream under my real name. Um, for obvious reasons. Uh, for really obvious reasons. That's what happened with Charlie Kirk. That's the reason why I don't do stuff under my name, because the left, they're insane. They're literally insane, and we'll talk about this too. Um, so I don't have like a personal agree that I'm feeling towards this individual because I was a big fan, I was a follower. I had no opinion on Charlie Kirk in the sense of I didn't dislike the guy. I never had really a bad thought or feeling about most of his takes. Um, Maybe there were a few things that I didn't entirely agree on, but the thing is, I don't agree 100% with anybody, so that's irrelevant. Like people saying that, oh, I didn't agree with him, but that's kind of a bullshit, caveat in my opinion. It doesn't matter whether you agree with someone. You shouldn't even have to go out there and say, oh, I didn't agree with him, but no, I don't. Oh, is he okay? Well, yeah. We'll see what happens with that, with the agenda for stream, if there's anything with the court. But I find that ridiculous that a lot of people have to come out and say that. They're like, "Oh my God, this is terrible. I didn't agree with them, but you shouldn't kill someone." Like, no, it doesn't matter. Um, there are no caveats. There are no asterisks. There are no disclaimers in this particular case. Political violence is wrong. Political assassinations are wrong. It's pretty clear cut. And what angers me isn't just Charlie Kirk being murdered, and not only murdered, but being murdered in front of his children, in front of his wife, in cold blood. These children and his wife, they're gonna relive that trauma every single day of their life. There's no getting over that. I know this from firsthand experience because I've experienced a lot of loss. You don't get over it. It stays with you. It's constantly there, always inside, always ever present. Sure, you can focus on your day, you can go to work, go have your lunch, go bowling, whatever. But when all the noise is gone, right there. It's always going to be there. The loved ones of Iryna Darutska, it's always going to be there. People are always going to remember. It's a permanent scar that never heals. Not fully. And those are symptoms. Those are symptoms of a much bigger problem that we have in this. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of what makes me angry. I didn't stream immediately after I was tempted to. I was tempted to jump on stream as soon as Charlie Kirk's assassination confirmed the sentence passed. I almost jumped on stream. And I was gonna go fire and brimstone that stream, but I didn't because I wanted to do the stream with a more level head, I wanted cooler heads to prevail. I didn't want to just go out there, especially since there was nothing really known about what had happened exactly. called, what's going on. Now we have a lot of information, so it's still more and more getting added. It was obviously political. The motive was obviously, but we'll talk about that in a moment. The the thing that really angered me about all this is that this isn't isolated. People are shocked that this happened. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not shocked at all. It's kind of like when school shootings started happening. Everybody was like totally, you know, blindsided by it, totally shocked. And I wasn't. I wasn't shocked at all because going through public school, I could see it coming. I didn't think it was ever going to reach that point, but when it happened, I was like, well, okay, I guess it did reach that because I saw it coming a mile away. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn or anything like that. I'm just saying that as observation. If people pay attention, it's there in front of you. It's not really that far fetched or complicated. Start seeing some of these patterns. And when you have people who, try to assassinate Trump, they tried to shoot up all the Republicans at that Republican baseball. I mean, you had AOC calling ICE Gestapo, and then you had some crazed boomer socialist hippie who went and shot at an ICE facility. And then you have people like Pelosi coming out now and saying, "Oh, we can't take responsibility for all of our violence. Hell no, we can't control how people interpret that and listen to that. Are you fucking kidding me?" People have been pushing violent rhetoric, and this isn't even new with Trump, by the way. They've been pushing this rhetoric for easily 20 to 30 years. It's just that when Trump came into it got ramped up to 1,000. But people were calling George W. Bush a war criminal, a murderer, Hitler. They were calling him the same things. When Romney ran against Obama, they accused him of killing people. They accused him of objectifying women and having the binder full of women. They accused him of killing dogs. I mean, this isn't new. When Herman Cain died, the left celebrated. When conservatives were being harmed because they wouldn't want to wear a mask, and some of it was political, yes, but some of it was legit. Some people did have medical conditions that did not allow them to wear a mask. They were vilified. Hospitals wanted to refuse care. They wanted conservatives to die. If you wore a red hat, they wanted you to die. They wanted to punch you in the face because you're a Nazi. You're a white supremacist. The red hat is the equivalent of the Klan hood. That's what they kept saying. You're racist. You're evil. You're a Nazi. So you should punch a Nazi. But it's okay for them to be evil. It's okay for them to go around punching people, harassing people, spitting on people, destroying their property, destroying the Trump Pence signs and the Trump Vance signs, putting swastikas on signs. I bookmarked some things that I want to show on the stream if we get to it. They're still doing it today, even though a political assassination happened exactly because of all of this rhetoric that they are pushing. You have Tim Walz going out there going, "Oh man, I thought we were going to hear the news that Trump was going to be dead. Oh, what a shame, but hey, it'll happen one day." You have Maxine Waters going out there saying, "Oh, harass them. Anybody who supports Trump and their administration, go out there, harass them. They're not welcome. Don't let them eat at restaurants. Don't let them get gas at a gas station. Wherever you see them, harass them, harass them, harass them." You have Pelosi going out there continuously saying that Trump is a fascist. You have Bernie Sanders going out there calling people oligarchs. Does Bernie Sanders even know what an oligarch is? Can you define that for me, Bernie? And I could keep going on and on. I already talked about AOC, for example. This is the problem. This is what made me angry. Is the political climate in our country. It's not just the political climate though. It's just the general climate of our country. I don't recognize my country anymore. I was born into a different country with a completely different set of ethical and moral values. I don't know what happened along the way. I don't know what happened along. I wish I had an answer because all this rhetoric that I've been hearing, and there was some of this even with Reagan. Like I looked at some, I enjoy old TV shows, so sometimes I go and listen, watch old clips from like Johnny Carson, for example. And Johnny Carson wasn't strictly political. I mean, I will give him credit for that. He had some guests like Robin Williams who would make jokes. They would crack wise against Reagan. But the thing is this: they're, the jokes that they would make were just were really more lightweight compared to the stuff that you now. It's escalated over time, escalation, 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 and you have no pushback from the right, no pushback. All this time, all this time, the right, the conservatives, the Republicans, they never truly pushed back against Saturday Night Live, like the Tonight Show, the show, whatever the news show, the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and all the bull crap that he used and the violence that he used as well. Not to mention the political rhetoric of Biden as well. Like all these politicians, the right are a bunch of quivering pussies for the longest time. And I hate to admit this. I hate to admit this, but I'm part of that too. Because when I go to a work, like when I work in corporate, and I hear someone in a meeting, and this literally happened. I go to a meeting and I hear people talking about how there's too many white people or too many old people, old white men at this convention that we were planning at my workplace that we were organizing. I didn't say shit. I did not go to HR. I did not talk to any about it. I just sat there and I took it because I didn't want to lose my job. I was in a very liberal I was in a very liberal state. I was living in New York City at the time. I'm ashamed of myself for that, in all honesty. And that is true, Titsu. Titsu said here, if you not reading, he said regardless if you identify or vote right or left, basically, and there's a huge amount of truth to that. That is true. But the thing is, I'm talking about ideologically conservative. No, I don't identify as a Republican politically because I'm not registered with any party. And I refuse to register for any party. I don't even want to be called an independent because I feel that if you're an independent, that label means you're wishy-washy. That means you can go either way. I don't like that label because I'm not independent in that sense. I'm not party affiliated, but I am Catholic, and as a Catholic, I am conservative. Because if you actually are Catholic, if you actually follow the teachings of the Catholic Church, you have to be conservative. If you're not conservative and you're Catholic, guess what? You're not Catholic. That's it. There's no if and or buts about it. Just the Ten Commandments alone dictates that you cannot be a Democrat if you are Catholic. You cannot vote liberal if you're Catholic. Simple. But anyways, that's a different discussion for a different stream. The point is, um, the point is that the right is in part largely responsible for the deaths of people like Irina and Charlie Kirk. And not directly responsible because we incited this, it's just because we did not push back on the culture war sooner. We didn't really push back hard enough the way we were supposed to. We let this slide for way too long because we wanted to take the high road. We didn't want to do what the left did. We didn't want to be um for lack of a better word, militant about it. And it's that's where we are now. And you even have people that won't even fess up to the fact, like Elon Musk. I've been calling him out on this on X, and of course, I am throttled to shit on X. Any post I make, I can't even get double digit impressions. I get double digit impressions if I am lucky. For the most part, I get no views to maybe five in my impressions. It is ridiculous. There's almost no point in me even being on X. But anyways, again, that's another topic for another. The point is, Elon Musk going out there in a public feud with Trump, calling him a pedophile essentially with no evidence, mind you, just straight up defamation. This contributed. This obviously contributed. This obviously contributed to the left's rhetoric of, oh, the right is protecting a pedophile, a fascist, an oligarch, a Hitler. There was a video just recently. Trump went to a restaurant and there was these like code pink retards. There was these code pink retards screaming, "You are the Hitler of our time!" Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, you can't fix that degree of stupid. David Hogg, 2028. Yeah, baby. Oh boy. But and then this goes to like I did I mentioned earlier I tried to not watch any other person, but I did listen to. There was one thing that Sam Hunt said that it really struck me, and I commend him for how he presented. I didn't listen to the entire stream of his, but the beginning of the stream, and I can even see if I can bring it up on my clip that I'm. But he talked about um how Karina could have been your sister, your mother. But Charlie Kirk, you. And there's truth to that, a huge amount of truth to that, because when you have someone who pretty much mirrors a lot of essentially what the conservative value set is, it's a clear indication. And that is not, and it's not only Charlie, again, it's not only Charlie Kirk, it's conservatives in general. The left wants you dead. You have Hassan Piker, the nephew of Cenk Uygur, and even Cenk has said this. Bill Maher has said also made comparisons to conservatives and Hitler and things like that. He compared Trump to Hitler, and now all these people on the left are saying, "Oh, we need to tone down the temperature. We need to bring down the temperature. We need to tone down the rhetoric. We need to, violence, political violence is wrong." Well, if you really believe that, Bill Maher, if you really fucking believe that, you wouldn't have compared Trump to Hitler now, would you? And for decades, you wouldn't have vilified the right as being bigots, racist, intolerant, evil, if you really believe that. But because they're getting the only reason people like AOC and Pelosi are scared shitless right now, and they're trying to push this. It's on both sides. It's on both sides. And we need unity. We need to tone down the temperature. It's on both sides. The reason why they're doing this is because they know how much blood is on their fucking hands. They know this because, like I said earlier, you can't go around New York City with a red hat. You get punched in the fucking face, no matter what the red hat says. You'll still be attacked for it. There were up until recently, up until the assassination, there were still videos coming out of people getting harassed because they're wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat or a Trump T-shirt or something like that. They're being harassed in restaurants still to this day. So don't tell me. I don't want to hear it from anybody on the left that you're like, oh no, political violence is wrong. Oh, we need unity. Oh, this is very bad. It's on both sides. No, it's not fucking both sides. And people on the left are trying to quote the ADL. There's this research study, quote unquote, that the ADL did, the Anti Defamation League. Fuck them, first of all. But they're trying to push this as saying that it shows there's more violence on the right than the left. Bullshit, because that includes all these murders that happen in prisons that has I don't even know why they would even label it as right, but they included all this extraneous data to skew the graph to show that the right is more dangerous than the left. All the last shootings that happened in schools, the church shooting that happened while people were at mass, were praying, and look at what people were saying about that. Look at what they were saying about that. Like Gavin Newsom, what he was saying, mocking children that were murdered while they were praying. And this cunt wants to then come on here on Twitter or do a video or do something, saying, oh, no, no, we don't condone political violence. We don't want that. We're, all unity, both sides, to bring down the. Fuck you, Gavin Newsom. Go fuck yourself all the way out as far as you can go. And when you're done fucking yourself out there, you just keep on going and keep fucking yourself. Simple. Do not believe the left that they are searching for unity. They are not. It's all lip service, save for some exceptions. I'm not going to paint every single person that's on the left as rabid, violent, and murder. Because obviously that's not the case. Because what's been coming out now after Charlie Kirk's murder is the fact that on one side you have people celebrating the murders, not just his murder, but also Iryna murder, which obviously racial because the murder that got that white girl, right? But you also have people on the left that are this celebration, and I personally know people that are on the left, like people that I know I talk to on a regular. They themselves are appalled. One even told me I registered Republican now. I am not voting Democrat anymore. They literally said this to me. I knew another person who, when there was the assassination on Trump in Butler, PA, he initially almost kind of celebrated in the sense like, oh, too bad the guy missed. He was kind of like almost one of those guys. He didn't go as far as to say that, but I could tell from what he was saying. He's like, oh man, he wasn't dismayed at the fact that there was an attempt on Trump's life. And more recently, before all this happened, he completely switched. I had spoken to him about a month ago, and he was telling me, yeah, no, like that. The left has gone crazy. Like Democrats have gone crazy. Like all the stuff that they're doing, it's nuts. So he shifted over more towards the right. Wherever he ended up landing, I don't know specifically because I tried to not talk politics because I do work with this guy, and I try to be apolitical when it comes to sort of work that I do. But it just speaks volumes, is what I'm saying. Is like it talking about what is happening in the climate of our country. The Democrats already had a very garbage approval rating. I think they had what 12%, 15%, something like that. They had a very low approval rating overall in the country. What's happening right now, where all these people are celebrating and they're losing their jobs, rightfully so, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. I think this is opening the eyes to many, and I think a lot of people are realizing, especially how bad our schools are infiltrated, our governments are infiltrated, um, doctors and other specific industries, nurses, school boards, all these specific industries are really infiltrated by this violent, crazy, rabid domestic terrorist left. And it's clear these people should never hold any power anymore. Absolutely not. And not in my opinion. I don't believe that the left has sanity or the gravitas to really appreciate what they've created here. You know? So yeah, we're in a clusterfuck of a situation, to be honest with you. We're in a big clusterfuck. Um, I wish I had a better kind of like solution here. And to me, the first impulse that I had when I heard about the news of Charlie Kirk getting murdered is that everybody should pick up that mantle on the right. Doesn't matter how big or small you are. Like I am very small potatoes when it comes to streaming, posting online. Like I said, I'm pretty veritable nobody. I'm screaming into the void 99.9% of the time. I'm not really doing anything in terms of I don't think I'm making a major impact in that sense. Um, but even someone like me, my first impulse was, you know what? I'm gonna start streaming every day again, like I used to. I'm gonna start getting out there, just putting it out there, and whatever it takes, whatever impact it has or not. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Um, because I think the important thing is that we need to encourage and enable people to do what Charlie Kirk did. Because let's be honest, Charlie Kirk with Turning Point USA went into a lion's den. Every single time, universities were the stronghold, one of the major strongholds of the left, because it was their indoctrination, where they went out there and they would indoctrinate people just like what happened with this Tyler Robinson guy. And that's the only time I'm going to mention. He got indoctrinated. He came from a conservative family, but he was a leftist. He was uh, part of different discords that were anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, anti-right, anti-conservative. There's a lot of evidence coming out about that. He had a tranny boyfriend who fancied himself a girl. So basically, he was a homosexual. The killer, the assassin, was a homosexual because he was basically fucking a tranny. Let's just be frank and honest about it. Um, this guy was very much influenced by all this stuff, and it looks like there's like some socialist group too that he was part of because he had there was pictures of him with the socialist group T-shirt. There's even some evidence now coming out. I had this up on my here. Let me see if I can bring it up for me to at least reference. Here you go. Like State Department. There you go. There's a tweet here by Data Republican, small r, that the State Department and UN ties to armed queers SLC leader now confirmed. Apparently, this Iranian person, part of the Armed Armed Queers SLC, is under investigation for possible knowledge of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Their leader, uh, Ermaya Panayan, however that's pronounced, was recognized by a State Department affiliated NGO, Utah Global Diplomacy, as a recipient for the 7 for 17 award for advancing the UN 17 goals. Utah Global Diplomacy has since scrubbed her presence from their website when this purge happened. The receipts remain. So she's pulling the Data Republican is doing a lot of digging about this, and she's a great account to follow. By the way, don't follow her. She has some interesting stuff that she puts out there occasions. So I would definitely recommend give her a follow if you haven't, if you don't, because it's worth it. So yeah. So where are we at now? Essentially, in this country is it's kind of an unknown now because even though they caught the guy, there may be some deeper layers to that onion, where there may be some other groups and other people involved. I heard that they had arrested the second person as well, as the person that also tried to obstruct the police, saying that he did it and then he quit. Um, there is that as well. That he was arrested. Now, this is really the crucial and critical point here, and I feel that there really needs to be steps put in place. I mean, let's face it, and Trump has already mirrored this too. He said that he's willing to consider uh, declaring Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, which he should. This should have happened a long time ago. I would take it a step further because it's not just Antifa. Any socialist party in America needs to be declared as a domestic terrorist organization because they're pushing for this. They're pushing for the death of capitalists because they say capitalism is evil. They're pushing for the death of millions. They celebrate it like with Louis Joni. They celebrate it when someone kills a millionaire or however. I think that guy was a billionaire. Big Pharma, and I am no fan of Big Pharma, mind you. A lot of what does Big Pharma does is it is pretty evil shit. Don't get me wrong, but again, that does not justify political murder. Uh, so I think that Antifa needs to be declared a domestic terrorist organization. I believe socialism, like any socialist party in America, needs to be anything that has any connection to socialism, any needs to be declared domestic terrorism. They're a domestic terrorist org. I think the Democrat Party needs to be declared as a domestic terrorist organization because this is what they have been pushing for. And there's plenty of evidence, as I mentioned with AOC, pushing people to violence and people in their manifestos, literally crediting people like AOC for that. Simple. And I know some people may even think about that and listen to this and go, maybe that's a little harsh to name all Democrats domestic terrorists. But I mean, show me Democrats, and I'm talking about your more mainstream Democrats, because there are the few exceptions, like Tulsi Gabbard was an exception and she left. There were some other guys, I can't remember primaries, the first election, where he was actually reasonable. I can't remember the name. And he got basically exiled from the party. So most most Democrats nowadays abide by sane, socialist, crazy, violent politics. They hold no loyalty to the Constitution. They hold no loyalty to our country. They hold no loyalty or respect for the history of our country, and all the struggles and sacrifices and all the blood that has been spilled to have our country be what it is today. They have no respect for that sort of thing. And they keep pushing for more and more violence. They keep pushing it. No matter what they say now, they keep pushing it. So yeah, I would say that the Democrat Party should be labeled as a domestic terrorist organization. Now, um, going back to what Sam Hyde said, because that was one of the few pundits that and it wasn't really intentional. It happened to sort of came up. Um, he said that in the next 2 weeks, like these 2 weeks are going to be pivotal in what happens because if Trump and the administration don't act, um, bad things can happen. We don't really have a solution to this problem. And in a way, he's not wrong. I don't know if 2 weeks is the timeline here, but I do believe that there really does need um I mean we could call it a reckoning, but not in a reckoning in the sense like I'm not saying we need to go out. I don't think that the Trump administration should go out and go full like um vengeance here. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about reckoning. I'm talking about really self reflection, some introspection and reflection of our country, and the fact that business as usual, it's not going to cut it. Business as usual isn't going to cut it. When you have idiots like Pam Bondi going out there saying, "Oh, there's hate speech and there's free speech. We want to make sure that if there's hate speech, that it's prosecuted that and whatever." Like, no, that's the same tired old bullshit that has been pushed by the left since time immemorial. That, oh, uh, there's no such thing as hate speech. The Constitution does not recognize it's leftist bullshit mumbo jumbo. Hazard is saying, I want them to turn the prove me wrong move to one of these UFC fighters just shows up at their door and just fuck out of everyone that booted Kamala. Um, a long time ago, I'll tell you this little tidbit. A long time ago, I had a theory about the best what would be the best way to solve and a solution that I came up with was something similar to that, where it's like, okay, let's say Russia, like during the Cold War, Russia and the United States had a lot of we had a lot of problems with each other, and today we still do. Or like, let me give you a more recent example: China and America. Okay, um, so my theory was, well, if there's a conflict, instead of sending sons and daughters to go out and die for the frankly we're not even that involved in, that if a war breaks out between two countries, what the hell? Like, why should I die because China's they're being dicks, or because Germany they're being dicks, or any other country are being dicks? Why should I? Why should I? My volume is maxed out. I'm sorry, dude. I'm having microphone issues. My volume is maxed out. I can't do much more than this. Um, unless I try and connect some external microphone, which I don't even know if I can. I mean, if you want me to, I can pause the stream for a moment and see if I can do that. Um, so I don't know. I'd have to check. I don't know. But anyways, and I thought the best solution would be, okay, you have a conflict between country A and country B. Country A and country B, choose your fighters. Choose one guy that represents United States, for example, and China. Choose one guy that represents China. Go to a ring, beat the ever living snot out of each other, and whoever wins won the conflict. And you could do a best like 2 out of 3 rounds, or best 3 out of 5. You know, just so it's fair. Um, and then conflict over. Why not? Why was Charlie killed? Um, Titsu, a lot of it's political. Charlie Kirk was murdered for different reasons. Charlie is the reason for the Abyss Randcast. Yeah, in a way he is. Uh, I when I got started getting really involved in politics, I listened to a lot of people like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Milo Yiannopoulos, Lauren Southern, all these right wing pundits, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. I listened to all of them, and it doesn't that doesn't mean that I agreed with every single thing that everybody said. It was just an interesting kind of education, if you want to put it. I'll be more specific in a moment. To want to kind of give some foundation here. All of these people have had a huge influence in the political sphere for different reasons in different ways. Charlie Kirk's influence was very specifically in universities because he was exposing young people to ideas that this may have been the first time they were ever exposed to these ideas. And the left has been little by little losing the young vote. Trump did a lot better this time around, and he won the popular vote for the first time in these three elections because of a lot of the inroads that people like Charlie Kirk were making, just speaking to the youth. His motive was political because he was part of Antifa. He was heavily involved in the LGBT community, being that he was boinking you know he may have been acting alone, but that doesn't seem to be the case. If there's 20 discords, that he's connected to like maybe 10 or 20 discords. There's groups that may have had prior knowledge of him going out to commit this act, that he was going to do it, he said he was going to do it, and they encouraged it. All the facts are not known yet, so I'm not going to say with absolute certainty this is the reason. I will say it seems very much politically motivated when he himself expressed to his family members he hated Charlie Kirk because of Charlie Kirk's politics, because he was going on campuses and debating people. The killer said it himself. His family said his killer expressed hatred towards Charlie Kirk and expressed dismay at him being at the university there to speak. You know, so to me, I don't know about that, dude. DoomTube is saying that there were two shooters that shot at the same spot at the same time. I don't know about. The video does not necessarily show anything like that. From what I've watched that video over and over several times because I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that I was seeing. So I watched it over and over, kind of just to really kind of get an understanding of how exactly he passed. Kind of damage was things like that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. And there's people going out there talking about, oh, he died because there was ricochet from body armor and this and that. He wasn't wearing body armor. Like this is what pisses me about the internet. You have these are the people. Those are the people that are trying to profit off of this, trying to get clicks. They're trying to be conspiracy theorists. They're trying to do like all this like, oh, there was the grassy knoll. They're doing this whole JFK thing. There was a second shooter on the grassy knoll. The grassy knoll. The grassy knoll. The body armor, and there's him. There's Charlie Kirk in a T-shirt. Yeah, the armor. It's just retarded. It's just absolutely retarded. There's a picture of Charlie Kirk right before the event. He's wearing the T-shirt, and this is how stupid it is that these people are making me talk about a dead man's nipple. You can see Charlie Kirk's nipples in in the picture. And now these people have forced me to address this where I have to. I'm sure Kirk, wherever he is laughing his ass off that a person is doing a stream talking about him being assassinated, and they got to address the fact that I could see his nipples. Yeah, okay, thank you, whoever you were on YouTube that did the body armor video to spark this retarded topic of conversation. Yeah, and that's true. The killer again, yeah, the killer was fucking a troon, and the troon was talking shit about. And these people have been scrubbing the whole group of troons and such. They've been scrubbing their accounts, making them private, trying to delete everything. And you know, I don't know what there is there with these people that were talking shit online and they're scrubbing their accounts now. I don't know exactly what is there, but because they are acting in this way where they're shutting everything down, trying to hide their involvement of some kind, it's definitely worth looking into. Absolutely, it's worth looking into, and just to see how far or how deep that little conspiracy goes. Um, Going back to scrubbing, talking about scrubbing internet histories and posts and things like that. Yeah, all these people that were celebrating, this is the other thing that really disgusts me of this whole situation. That people are actually out there celebrating the political assassination of. If someone, maybe they were AI generated by Israel, who knows? Is that true? Is that true that Trump is suing the owner of the New York Times? Really? Nice. Good. He should. He really should. All these people that have been putting libel essentially on paper and doing all this, defamation of character of him. Yeah, he should. I think anybody really. This is one problem with how the laws are here in the U.S. is that defamation of character, like the defamation suits, they have a high threshold. Difficult to win those. They're not impossible. You can win them. It's just not easy. Europe has a slightly different legal standard when it comes to that sort of thing. Um, I don't know if everybody remembers, but when Bitway was still a thing, Kitty was on there. He put together this thing defaming a bunch of people, and he did not realize that what he was doing, like if anybody had any legal recourse in Europe for the defamation that he was gonna be in a world of pain. So yeah, well, and that's another thing. Like some people are talking about that other conspiracy that somehow Israel's involved. Um, this is what I have to say about that. There are plenty of people that have said far, far, far worse things about Israel, and they didn't get their next shot. They didn't get murdered. And Candace Owen alone, all the crap that she says about Israel and the Jews, you'd think they'd send a rocket into her house, but that's to me that is why to me that theory that Israel has some hand behind it is very silly to me because Charlie Kirk was really not anti-Israel. He was very pro-Israel, and he also, if he had any, it was very recent that he started having some sort of critique where he was concerned. There's been some reports that he was concerned about the fact that they were losing support because of the optics of what was happening. And that's just factual. I mean, Israel, they just don't have good optics right now. Whether you agree with them or not, it's difficult for some people to go along with what they're doing and say, yeah, it's all perfect. Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, DoomTube. Yeah, it's like Trump saying he won't let Israel do another bombing, and that they bomb Qatar the next day. Yeah, that's the thing. Like all these people trying to pin it on Israel is, um, I think it's funny, honestly. Not funny, ha ha, but funny in a way that, in the sense that it's there's a certain degree of retardation involved with that. Like it's just kind of like talking to a flat earther and or talking to someone that believes in a specific conspiracy, and no matter what you tell them, it's always going to be that boogeyman they have in their head, and that's it. I think I don't know if it's that random nutter, as you're saying. Like there's a lot of nutter butters out there, no doubt, and there's a lot of these crazy people, but it doesn't happen in a vacuum. That's my argument regarding that Titsu is that it could have been a lone gunman. It could have been one nutter butter that could have just snapped and didn't like Charlie, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take him out when I get the chance, and he did. But the thing is that again, that just doesn't exist randomly in the vacuum. It's not a random. A lot of things come that to happen. A lot of things have to come together for someone to be willing to cross the line to kill. And I think that's one of the big, again, going back to the beginning of what we were talking about. That's one of the things that about climate of this country and why I don't recognize it. That there used to be thresholds, thresholds that people would respect to a degree, and it seems like this thresholds are just being kind of eroded more and more. There's this cult of death on the left. I I I'm pregnant. I don't want the baby. I'm gonna murder. I don't like a big pharma bro. I'm gonna murder. Celebrate the or celebrate the of a pharma big pharma bro. I don't like Trump. I want him dead. Like every solution to their problem is death, 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 violence, 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 violence. That is what the left has become. And the right needs to wake up to this reality. It doesn't mean that we have to follow in kind and go in the same direction, but no, we need to push back on it. And we need to say enough, enough. I saw a clip of Greg Gutfeld talking about this, where he basically tore Jessica Tarlov a new asshole, saying that no, this whole both sides argument, like this whole relativism thing, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And it needs to stop. And he's not wrong. You can't come to me and say it's a two-side issue when it's really not. And that's the biggest question right there. Nothing ever happens. Ari Vadnan? Guess that's how you say your name. you know, that's the question on I think everybody's mind. What's gonna what's gonna happen? How are we going to address this? As like I said, business as usual ain't gonna cut it. It just ain't gonna cut it. You going down this path because it's just gonna escalate more and more. I promise you, it's gonna escalate. They will stop. They will not stop. They just won't. They'll have people putting swastika signs on Republican political signage. They'll have people online celebrating and saying and trying and mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. You have people going out there and and uh and trying to desecrate memorials, vigils. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. And that's the biggest issue here is that these people will not stop. It will not stop. He is from the left. Yes, he's a leftist. I think the other solution aside from naming certain groups as domestic terrorists, the other solution in my opinion, nationwide open carry. I think everybody should be able to carry a gun at this point because everybody is in danger as long as people are walking around. Which brings me also to Iryna Darutska. That's another very, very sad case. Heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking case. A young woman, I think she was what, 22, 21 or 22, comes here to escape a bullshit war, goes on a train, unprovoking, unprovoked, gets stabbed in the neck. And what's worse, nobody does a fucking thing. Nobody even checked on her until it was too late. The video you have someone recording as she is bleeding out. Just it's just angering. It's just absolutely angering. I look at that video of that young woman. I've seen the video where after she gets stabbed, she is that look on her face. that look of fear, fear and not even understanding what the hell just happened to him. And then that realization, bursting into tears for the brief moments that you feel conscious, passes out and bleeds out. I'm beside myself on that. Just beside myself. Sorry. I just I can't even like I can't even move on from that. Like that the visual that I have right because I can see it right in front of me. Like I'm like the video is replaying right in front of my eyes right now. You video. And you know what the worst of it is with her in her situation in her case that she had a Black Lives Matter poster. She wasn't one of those people that were like it's not like she was anti-black or whatever. She wasn't was she was probably very leftist to have a Black Lives Matter poster. And she was probably a leftist. She was an ally. And he said, "Got that white girl, got that white girl." I mean, it's just it's insane. It's insane. That's like these people, like those I don't remember who it was. If it was an influencer or whatever. This one woman decided to go to some Arabic or African country that they weren't violent, and then they ended up raping her and killing her. And that's the other thing. That's right. I almost forgot about that Doom tube. Um thank you for reminding me about that. The judge, this guy had been arrested 4 fucking times. The killer, what's it? I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but the this black guy that killed Iryna, 14 priors, 14 prior arrests, and this judge let him out on the street. This cunt of a magistrate judge. I'm beside myself. I can't I can't even process this. In what fucking civilized society do we have violent, schizophrenic, mentally ill people, obviously racist, are allowed to just roam free to go and murder and stab people? That's what they do in New York. That's what they do apparently in North Carolina. Just let people go out on the street, go murder, have fun, and we're supposed to go. What the fuck, dude? And what else can we do? So this is another thing like that. This really needs to be addressed. Some people are ragging on the fact that oh this judge wasn't even judge. Yeah, I mean that's nothing. But I don't even think that's the big. It is an issue. I think people judge you should I don't think you need a judge. I do think that maybe you have to have, I don't know, some an associate's degree in justice. Just have a understanding of patient of law, precedent. So just have that kind. Sure, you have to be a lawyer. I don't really. I think lawyers being judges more of a positive. Obviously, they all the case studies. So yeah, I do think that it matters, but at the same time, I do also think that it's not entirely like a hard requirement, a lawyer per se, but I do think that requirements need to change. We need to change requirements because it is ridiculous how many times I hear judges have letting criminals walk into this after they committed a heinous crime and then on the street, and then once again they commit another heinous crime, if not escalate something even more heinous. So judges, I think, and I believe this with politicians too, if you put laws in place that allow people to commit harm onto others, you should be held accountable. I think politicians, judges need to be held seriously do. So I'm not sure what much more there is to say subject. I'm not going to do a deep dive into all the evidence. Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to dig um killer of it. Um, maybe we'll do that another. Now the thing for me here at the more towards the end, I'm not gonna how much. One thing that I would want, like I said, when Charlie Kirk's murder was the thought I should go back to street, not necessarily to like Charlie Kirk or anybody like that, but I I believe that all voices louder, not given not allow the left moral relativism, trying to say it's on both sides, trying to pin this on pin this on the rights rhetoric. I don't believe we shouldn't do that at all. To push back, we need to stay firm to really really just be warriors and say no. I'm going to gaslight. You're not going to tell us that it's okay for you to done us. It's not okay for you to done us. Say, oh, It's okay for you. I sincerely hope not. That's what I mean about. I think people effort. Do not let this. Not forget. Do not forget the children that not forget about. Not forget about Charlie. That's my go-to motto. Don't be complacent. Really, that encompasses everything about what I'm talking about. Really need to get super hyperactive, and there's a lot of positives that have come out of the fact that Charlie's assassinated, and there's so many like money coming. You have so many thousands of us for new chapters. It's amazing. That's the kind of act. A lot more. We need to flood airwaves. We need to flood campuses. Go into the blue cities. We need to have an ever present present. The fact that Sam Danny, Tommy, Tommy Muzzy there in New York, this guy, he's gonna probably win because nobody's going out to fight against him. And that that's a huge problem. People need to go out there and really go out there and fight. And by fight, obviously I mean not punch people in the face. I mean ideologically go out there, put posters, put billboards up in Times Square, just flood everything with conservative politics, conservative ideas. Show them a better way, non-violent way. That's really what we. So I'm not sure if that'll translate from today. I had thought about that because, like I said, I feel that everybody, no matter how big or start pumping. Um, I don't know if I can. Maybe I'll have to think about it, but I don't know if I will or not. I have to really consider if it's something that's worth for me doing at this. Because, like I said, I'm getting nothing views on my posts. I am throttled and shadow banned to hell. I don't even. I'm getting hardly any videos. Um, I don't think I am getting that much. Not that I'm doing it for the views, but the whole point to push out a conservative message is for it. So if nobody's hearing it. What's the point? So I don't know. I gotta think about it for me, but I will definitely encourage anybody go out there, pick up that mantle, pick up that phone, microphone, go out there, and even if it's talking to your friends, family, go out there and kind of follow the example of Charlie Kirk. He went out there and it was always about a debate of ideas, never attacking, was never insulting, never ad hominem. It was essentially you think this is why I believe nobody should be afraid anymore. Say I'm conservative, I'm a Trump supporter. I supported Charlie Kirk's values. We should not be ashamed in any shape, way, or form. Shouldn't. There's literally no reason. So that is my call to action for everybody. I invite everybody post more on social media, push back against fake platitudes of the left talking about unity when you know for a fact it's a bunch of lies, bollocks. You know they don't believe that. Don't believe. There's no sincerity in it, save for some very specific examples. There is no sincerity in it. And the one thing I also want to say is let's not try to replace Charlie. Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk. Trying to have someone come in like a Nick Fuentes or Ben Shapiro to take over a USA, um, prove me wrong that he do. No, I really don't think someone else that already has a giant platform should be taking over another giant platform, giving them such a loud megaphone that it would be ridiculous. No, I don't agree with that. I think someone within the organization, where it makes sense, can take on the role, can continue to work. And if not, maybe Turning Point USA can go around their chapters, group people. You know? We'll see. I just don't think anybody right now should be trying to take on the mantle. I know Alex Jones said he's gonna do a college tour. Milo Yiannopoulos said he's gonna start doing it again, going on um in under their own banner, which is fine. I think they should. I think a lot of people should really start, like I said, going hammer it hard, hammer it loud. Don't don't take a step back at all. But in terms of where this turning point they go moving forward, I think that's an matter for turning point for Charlie Kirk's widow and the people that worked the closest to Charlie Kirk. I don't believe um I don't believe the platform. I don't believe that Steven Crowder should step in or Milo Yiannopoulos or anybody. I don't believe that anybody should just step in and go, okay, I'm gonna take over because you're not you're not going to get the same effect as Charlie did, artificially trying to, and you are obviously not synced up in line with. Well, Milo Yiannopoulos, how do Christians accept gay leaders like Milo? Well, okay, there's a couple answers. One, Milo claims, alleges he's gay. So technically, he's ex-gay. So if he's ex-gay, renounced that lifestyle, and he's straight, quote unquote, straight now, then you're accepting a quote unquote straight man when it comes to Milo. You're not. When it comes to Peter Thiel or other straight men, um, I mean, I personally, I personally also like the Catholic Church. I've mentioned this on stream before. Teaching of the Catholic Church says we are all children of God and we are all of equal to this. Um, so I'm not going to condemn anybody for sin they've committed or if they live a degenerate lifestyle, especially if they are pushing like my values. If they're pushing my values and they are trying to better America, they're pushing for the Constitution well, they're pushing for better politics, they're pushing for better policies. Um, they can be degenerates. They can uh whatever. But at the end, I'm not going to be the one to judge them. God will. So that's what I mean. Like I will give respect to people that earn it, and if they earn it, they'll get it. And there's one last thing I wanted to talk about because a lot of people online have been really feeling and mourning the loss of Charlie Kirk. Um, like I said, for me, it's not so much Charlie Kirk's or even Iryna Darutska that I'm quote unquote mourning for. Um, like I mentioned, one thing that frustrates me, really upset me, is more so just the fact that something like that happened. Something like that happened to someone like Iryna. Uh, we should be better than that. We should be better than that. And I think that's at least for me where my frustration, anger, and now some people have been mourning and they've been grieving specifically for Kirk because they were big fans, they loved him, etc., etc. I'll say this: a lot of people go online. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. If I knew, I think the and this is speculation on my part because I can only speak for myself. I can't for anybody. But I think one of the reasons why a lot of people are feeling such a loss has to do with the fact that the assassination was it was a brutal assassination. We're not talking about something that really didn't see much or was like more hidden in the shadows or something that happened like isolated in dark alley and or he was just found dead in his like let's say he suffered a stroke or a heart attack and died in his people would not have had this visceral reaction to the way they would have had with what happened now. It's the violence. It's the horror behind it. The fact that his kids saw him get killed. The fact that his wife saw him get. The fact that all these people that were there and the person he was debating with saw him get killed. The fact that his daughter tried to run to him because she got scared of the gunshot sound. that that visceral kind of that kind of visceral kind of I can't even express it into words almost. It's like it's such a visceral, horrifying thing here when you like you think about it and read about these things. Saw it in the video. That to me is where this is probably for a lot of people because especially a lot of the norms like me. I'll admit that because I've experienced a lot of loss in my life and I've grown up around the internet. I mean, I survived Goatsy. So, if you survive Goatsy, there's a lot of stuff that you can survive on the internet. But and I'm not trying to make light of the horrifyingly such terrible violent acts that happened, Charlie. I'm really like I said, I gotta try and a little bit lighthearted. I gotta make a couple jokes here. This is it's a depressing stream to talk about these kind of things. Um, but that's what I'm talking about. It's like it was so shocking, and for normies especially, seeing this, that seeing this and confronting this face to face, seeing this sort of violence with Iryna as well, seeing all these videos of Iryna different angles getting murdered by this lunatic racist black guy, um, and the left defending him, and then this happens with Charlie, and the left is defending the killer, celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. It amplifies that grief further because it's hard to wrap your head around. Like, how can people be that way? Even for me, it takes a lot to shock me. It really does. And this shocks me. Not the murder itself, but that people can be so callous, so degenerate, so inhumane that they would find joy, just sheer unadulterated joy, if that's the correct term that I'm using. It's just I can't wrap my head around that. That is what I can't wrap my head around. I think that is also a huge driving force people feel. And I think people genuinely felt that Charlie was a nice guy. I mean, he never, he wasn't that controversial. Honestly, he wouldn't cuss. Like I have said far worse to my street. I call people cunts. I call people like all sorts of words. I've said some pretty brutal things towards people. Charlie Kirk never ever called anyone a cunt or a retard. I call people retards, cunts, dicks. I use very colorful language. I you know. So I think people had this impression of Charlie that he was a genuinely nice guy, even though he um would debate firmly with people. He was very strong in his positions. Don't get me wrong, but he was very much focused on civilized debate, civilized discussion. Was never about attacking people, never about um, calling people names. It was never about anything like that. It was always also very faith, Christian faith really played a huge role in that too. That's why I feel globally it is. the outpouring of love and that I've seen, like in India, and hey, you're it's crazy. It's crazy that Charlie Kirk was so beloved. And what's crazy, the craziest part of this, that of all the people that they could have assassinated, I think they chose the one of the worst possible targets because exactly of what I'm talking about. Because he was so cared for and loved by people, and he seemed like such a guy. Because he was so non-controversial, choosing a target like him, you just radicalized so many against. You just radicalized so many people against Antifa, against the socialists, against the Democrats, against all this violent rhetoric and all these people that are celebrating death. Th- This killer really chose the worst target because he did not get 1 iota, 1 inch, 1 millimeter of the reaction he was probably hoping. John Wilkes Booth, when he killed Lincoln, he thought he was going to be hailed a hero. He thought he was going to be a national hero. Everybody was going to love him for what he did because he thought Lincoln was a tyrant. And when he saw in the papers that he was being vilified, and rightfully so, for killing the president of the United States, that was he was basically labeled an evil assassin. He was dismayed. Reports back then say that he was dismayed. Apparently, he couldn't believe it. And this is the same situation with people that like this assassin of Charlie Kirk. I don't think this guy realized what he did in terms of the reaction. I don't think he was. I I think he was in such a closed bubble of all these little people that hated the right and hated Charlie Kirk that I don't think these people realize the vast majority of people don't think like you. Orthodox is saying, I don't know why I never made the connection that when people say death to fascists and then call normie Republicans fascists, they're inciting violence against. Yeah, absolutely they are. Absolutely. Um, you're you're not wrong there. Someone posted, I think it was Blair White that posted that what did she say? That they don't kill you because you're a Nazi. They call you a Nazi because they want to kill you. It's a premise, reason, it's an excuse, it's a motive. Oh, I'm sure there are bots adding to the. I don't doubt that at all. So, this is the thing for me. I think I'll say this and then we'll wrap it up here. I am not happy about the direction this country is taking when it comes to political rhetoric and violence. I believe that Republicans definitely, conservatives, not just Republicans, actually be more accurate, conservatives, because the Republicans are dicks, they're pussies. Conservatives, though, real conservatives need to stand firm, not back an inch against these violent lunatic fucks. These people want you dead. If you don't submit to them, this is what they want. And it's they said so themselves. Many are saying, if you didn't say if Charlie Kirk didn't go out there and did this, he wouldn't have died. If he would have just if you people on the right would not have fought against trans rights, you guys would not be attacked. If you guys didn't do this, that wouldn't happen. If you guys didn't do that, this wouldn't happen. It's bullshit. It is bullshit. They are seeking submission through fear and violence. Do not accept it. Fight against it. And we can fight this without violence because we have the moral authority. We have the moral high ground. We are in the right. The history books will show we got it right because we value the law, we value the Constitution, we value life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all the good things and all the good that has happened in this country, which we have had a lot of good in this country in history. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. Anybody that tells you that our country is nothing but evil and muck and scum, wrong. There has been good in this country. There has been amazing progress, innovation, human development, short periods of time, our social evolution, short periods of time. There is much that we have accomplished in the United States that no country has ever accomplished in the history of mankind. America has a unique place in in history. There's a reason for that. And I think people really need, really need to keep that in mind moving forward. Your anger out there is justified at the killing of Iryna Darutska. Your anger out there is justified for the killing of Charlie Kirk. It is righteous. It is moral. And we must do the righteous and moral thing. The righteous and moral thing is to fight evil. That's what we're up against. It's not right or left. It's good versus evil. And it is right versus left too. A lot of people, some people are saying it's just good versus evil. Good versus evil is part of it. It's a huge part of it. But it is right versus left. It's conservatism versus violent left, violent socialists, violent Antifa, violent Democrats. Because as much as the Republicans are pussies and their complacency contributes to the problem, the ones that are really pushing the violent rhetoric are people on the Democrat side of the aisle. So yeah, there is a right versus left component to this as well. But kids, your indignation, your anger, your being upset, you have every right to be. And you're not alone. Millions of people agree with you. Over 70 million people voted for Trump because they agree with you. The left does not want to come to terms with this. And you know what? They don't have to. But we know the truth. We know. And I think that's the most important thing. The most important thing is that we know the truth. And don't feel bad about knowing that. Don't feel bad about people that want you dead. Because that's the spiritual warfare that we find. That's what this is. It's spiritual warfare at the end of the day. So go out there. Don't be shy about your conservative beliefs. You don't have to go in people's faces and shout at them or anything like that, but be who you are. You don't have to hide it anymore. Call out call out the rhetoric. Call out the hypocrisy. Call out the double standard. Wear your red hat. Go out there and show who you are. Wear your crucifix. Wear your rosaries, or wear your symbols of your faith and of your belief. Don't let them silence you. Don't give them that victory. Because if they silence you, they won. And they will try. They will try to silence you. Not going to, not by a long shot. This isn't this isn't the end. It's only the beginning. Because they won't stop. I promise you. Give me 2 weeks before you claim to be again. Who? I it's interesting you bring that up because when Biden stole the election, and I was very upset about that, and I said I was gonna renounce my citizenship and I was gonna move out of the country. And honestly, I let me preface what I'm gonna say before I say what I'm gonna say. Let me give a disclaimer and a preface to what I'm gonna say. I was born in America. I have always been proud to be an American. It's a part of who I am. It's part of my DNA. It's trained in my persona. Nothing will ever excise that from me, which is why when an election is stolen and you have an actual real pedophile in the Oval Office and the village harlot as vice president, and you have politicization of our three-letter organization, governmental organizations that are harassing unconstitutionally Americans and are trying to silence them, arrest them, and hurt and torture them. Yeah, it upsets me a great deal, and I still don't see a restoration of our country. We're still not there, and I don't know if I ever will see a restoration of my because of just look what happened with the assassination. I don't know when an actual restoration of. So leaving the United States is still not off the table in that sense. And it's not because I don't like my country. It's not because I don't want to fight for my country. It's just it's difficult for me, kind of like watching a loved one die of cancer and you're powerless to do anything about it, or die of some other condition, and you're sitting there and you're like, what can I do? What can I do? And you come to the realization that there's very little, incredibly little. So that's why I'm still open to the possibility of, if all else fails and renunciation of citizenship and revolution, okay, I'm open to it. I still have not found another country I would want to go to. That's the problem. So I'm I'm not I'm not going to say everything is hunky dory, and I'm never gonna think about the country of my birth. But I don't even recognize this as the country of my as the country of my birth, in the sense of it's just not the same country anymore. I can't. It's very difficult for me to recognize it's still the America that I'm born into, that I've lived in for years of my life. It's difficult for me to wrap my head around it, and no other countries any better anyway. So I might as well stay here until, if things work out in one way or another, or maybe I can situate myself in a certain particular way to minimize the impact of the insanity that I'm seeing for me. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But on that note, what I want to say to everybody is a word of encouragement. All is not lost. All is not, like I said, we have moral righteousness on our side, the moral authority on our side. We have the moral positions. We are not the ones that are violent. We are not the ones celebrating death and assassination, dancing on the graves of people. We are not the ones that wish harm on others. We definitely are the side of the good and the righteous and the moral. Are we perfect? No. Me especially, far from it. But we're not the left. And I think that is what people should be keeping in mind now, as we stand firm to push back against all of this degenerate celebration of Charlie Kirk's assassination, of all this degeneracy that we see in the corruption of our government, and all this degeneracy of, you know, how people live their lives with drugs, with the LGBT, XYZ, alphabet soup community, and all this kind of stuff. And even in not that community, even in the just normal normie community, where you have a bunch of degeneracy as well. I mean, so at the end of the day, what needs to happen is find your get together with, have similar values. Do get married. I'm sorry, Orthodox, but I say do get married. Do have children. Do fight the righteous fight out there. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. My microphone is just not great. I'm gonna be wrapping up the stream anyways. I mean, I just wanted to end on a high note. We're in the right. We are in the right, and we have every weapon, so to speak, of our voice and moral outrage that we can use to push back against violent rhetoric. So everybody, I want to thank you for sticking out to the with the stream here and bearing with me. That's the thing too. Like if we allow Democrats back in power, it's gonna be the pendulum swinging back. It's going to be nothing like anybody has ever seen. It's gonna be violent. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be disgusting. It's gonna be it's gonna be all out war. So we really need to make sure that the Democrats never gain power again. So it's really time for the Republicans, the conservatives, every conservative on every side of the spectrum of conservatism. We really need to all come together as we have, and we have so, and it's good that we have to fight back against the celebrations of death. We really need to go and really make sure that this sort of thing is never going to happen again, Charlie, or to anybody else like Charlie Kirk. And we need to make sure that they don't have power anymore. And this is something that Trump really needs to laser focus on. The administration really needs to laser focus. So everybody, thank you so much for listening in on the stream. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, bearing with me when it comes to the microphone issues and the volume issue. Remember, kids, and I mean this more than ever. Don't be complacent. Thanks for listening. Follow, subscribe, share. Thank you.